Hi, Adrian Manyathelo here. Uh, Today, the topic is what my friend learned at a South African prison, right? It's a story where one of my business partners and friend went to South Africa, right? And when they got there, they were actually managed to go to see Robben Island. That's where Nelson Mandela spent actually 27 years in that prison. And they had to learn all the grueling things that he went through, the terrible things that he went through. And you see, when my friend was telling that, I'll let him tell you the whole story, right? But when he was telling that story, I also remember my own part of Nelson Mandela, right? So that's where I come in, right? I remember Nelson Mandela when he came out of prison. One of the most fascinating things for me is, hi, Pastor Seme, how are you? So I remember when he came out of prison, right? One thing that fascinated me was the wits, the way he was speaking, right? The guy was so eloquent in his speaking, and the guy was, and I remember one of the questions he was asked is why don't you ever uh, do you ever think about Robben Island as you go around as a president, right? Oh, I think by that time when I actually had the first speech was he was just preparing to be president. He was just president elect, they were going for the elections, right? And everybody knew that he was going to win, right? So he says he doesn't have time to think about what took place in Robben Island. He's more concerned about what's gonna happen, what he has to do with the job in hand. I mean, how he's going to change South Africa and all that, and how he's going to unite the country. And that really fascinated me because that showed the heart of the man and the real man, because he didn't focus on what was going there. Right? He had, and my friend tells the story that the reason why these guys they became what they were is because they decided to forgive, right? And because they forgave their enemies, they forgave the people that actually put them in prison into that terrible time, right? It gave him that freedom to be able to, to act normal and even beyond normal with what they did, right? And this actually comes to only one thing, that forgiveness is very, very important for us. It's good to forgive people that have done wrong to you, right? I remember when I was in high school, actually, and let me put it this way: when I was young, uh, about I was probably in primary school, primary five, right? My mom and my dad, they're separated. So when they're separated, we had to go and stay in a faraway village from my dad, right? And so, but it was the way things took place there that really hurt me and my brother so bad. And so what happened was that we were supposed to be transferred to a new school, obviously, because we were moving to a different place, right? And my dad decided to block our transfers, right? That we shouldn't go to another school. So basically, we were supposed to be we couldn't go through school, and we couldn't even solve it, right? So that gave us a grudge against our own dad, right? So me and my brother, remember this particular time, so we it was really a big grudge within our hearts, right? We were not happy with what he did. But what happened actually was that, fortunately, the headmaster in our new school just decided to put us through the system without, just to break the law and put us through without any papers, right? Which was great of him, and we owe him a lot for that. And now, what then happened was that we had this grudge within our house. I remember how I felt, how bad I felt, right? It was just eating me. That's the problem with these things, right? You have a grudge against somebody, you don't want to forgive somebody, right? Who really get hurt? Yourself, right? But if you forgive them, who really gains? Yourself again, right? So forgiveness is really, really good. So I remember we were planning on, we were not actually planning, we were just threatening, right? So we tell my mom, say, Mom, uh, we are going to go there and just kill that man. We just kill him, right? So, and I remember when we said that, then my mom will get so agitated. No, no, no! You can't do that. You can. We're gonna kill him. It was fun, right? So, so, and then I also remember the day that we decided. I mean, let me say, I specifically decided, and then I told my brother, we decided we're going to forgive our dad, right? And we forgave him. I remember the peace that went through our hearts. I remember the joy, right? Just forgiving someone. So it's important to forgive other people. And to conclude the story, later on, I think I saw my dad properly after my wedding, right? Although he was at the wedding, but I never really managed to talk to him. But I managed to talk to him after the wedding. And that's when I was a big guy. I mean, this guy once I left him when I was in primary school. I saw him when I'd got married, and I remember meeting him, and I had nothing against him. I just saw, I just felt the love of father to son and son to father, right? Which was great, right? So that's what forgiveness does. So today, really, the message is go out there and learn to forgive and forget, and also when you forgive, you'll be able to work with people properly. Actually, it's you that get the healing more than the other person. Very, very important lesson. And at this point in time, I'll hand over to my business partner and friend. So I go ahead and tell you the story about the South African prison. Go ahead and click on that link below this video. Somewhere near this video. If it's not there, I'll put it in a very short time. So go ahead and read the story. Quite a wonderful story. Thank you so much. And bye for now. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you everyone for joining in, listening to this great story about Nelson Mandela. Bye for now.